when you say you can't, and I look through my life and know that you can, I will, I must.
Yeah.
That is, those two words put together are my least favorite. I can't.
Yeah. And it makes sense when you're able to look at the, again, you got to read her book, but when you're able to look at the life you've lived, oh yeah, you can. It can't shouldn't even be a word.
You have to,
Yeah.
because if I would have stopped at husband number two, no way
Right.
would I be here
If you would have
doing
stopped
what I
at
knew I
husband
was
number
supposed to do.
one.
No.
My God. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a defining moment. Let me let you in on the secret that led them to their goal. Their strength lies solely in their tenacity. Welcome to Tenacious Thoughts. I am your host, Kimberly Tenacious T. Toko. Well, hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to Tenacious Thoughts. Today we have a very, very special guest. And let me tell you, when I say special, get your notebooks, get your pencil. You're going to want to take notes on this one. Today we are speaking with Sheila Jones Woodward. And not only is she the top sales, and when I say sales, it's not just sales, she gives you a vision and she is able to present that to you in a way where you want to get into the room. This woman has sold millions, tens of millions of dollars of seats in rooms. And not only that, when we talk to her, you're going to find out her back history. She's been a fashion designer. She has been on the radio as a featured host of a radio station, spoken to many celebrities. Without further ado, Sheila, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more.
Kim, I am completely, every time you speak, I'm just kind of like mesmerized by the amount of energy and calmness in your voice. It's an honor for me to even be here on your podcast speaking to you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sheila Jones Woodward. I am an author of a book called Married but Single, Confessions of a Military Wife. I also wrote a sales book, Closing Deals Like a Pro Without Hesitating. I also wrote a couple other books about sales. So, Kim, I'm going to leave it up to you to kind of draw out what your audience wants. But thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
The honor is all mine, number one. And yes, I think it's very important that people understand that, you were not born with a golden spoon. You created your own path. You made things happen for yourself. You had a vision, and this is why you're so good at what you do. You had a vision for yourself and you followed through no matter what. You put yourself first. Now being a top multi-million dollar ticket sales, vision sales, number one best-selling author, and people are clamoring to be able to just have 1 hour with you. And I get a whole hour here on the podcast. So again, take your notes. Sheila, tell us a little bit about your childhood and where you came from.
I grew up in Tallahassee, Florida. And I want to say around about the age of 5, I knew I didn't want to live there. My father used to live in Hartford. We used to travel back and forth. And there was something about leaving that area that you just get so excited about. So as a kid, I knew I wasn't going to be in a small town. I just felt bigger at a young age to even be in a small town. Tallahassee is amazing for those of us who have came and grown and left, but I'm speaking on my experience.
What was it even as a child that made you feel like there was something huge within you, that spark within you? What was it? What was your first memory of, I am going to be huge someday?
I felt that I was always different. Like the other kids, they like to play with dolls and things. And I like to just imagine myself dressing the doll. Like this is going to be my look that I put on a doll. If you ever thought about it, when you was presented a baby doll and they always seem to have on either pink dress or yellow dress, to me, it was just ugly. And it was just like, no, it should be different. And I used to undress the doll and put on a little t-shirt of my own and tie it all up. So I never accepted what was handed to me. And I always thought and felt like, no, that should be different. Nope, I can change that. And it used to drive my mom crazy because she's like, why can't you just get this? Everybody else has it. And it was just always something about in your head. You're like, yeah, but I ain't everybody. So I can't explain that deep down feeling. You just knew you didn't want what everybody else had because everybody had the same little doll with the same little dress from the same little store. And I just wanted something sparkly, shining, and different.
You had a distinct uniqueness about yourself,
Yeah,
and
always.
you felt the need to be able to express that, which I
Mhm.
think really a lot of us as children have. A lot of us, if we think back to before we were told otherwise, we always felt very secure in our uniqueness as a child. But then we face what you just talked about, your parents
Yeah.
saying and giving labels and how you should be, and the world telling you how you should be.
Mhm.
What was it about you? And I want to use the word rebelled, but it's not even really rebellion with you. What was it about you that stayed true to thyself?
I knew I didn't want to be like everybody, even to like my grandmother. My mom was a little different, but my grandmother, she was a seamstress. So I was sneaking there. She was sold items for people, and she always would just tell me, "Shh, don't tell anybody about this, and shh, don't tell anybody about that." But it's just one of those things that I held within me. It's I know I'm gonna be different. I don't have to tell everybody. I just got to show everybody that I'm gonna be different. So as I grew up, the more I decided that, nope, I don't want to do this. Nope, I don't want to be here. Nope, nope, and nope. No became my superpower early on. And I didn't care who liked it. I didn't have to fit in with this group. And in high school, you had a popular group. And I was probably about this big in high school, probably like 80 pounds. And I used to run track. And I remember some of the girls used to tease me. And see, I wasn't prone to like being bullied. You say something to me, I'm gonna get you back. And
Yes.
one of the girls was like, "Oh, you don't have to," because I always had a like what we would call back then a white girl shape, no butt. And she said, "You ain't got no butt at all." And I said, "I got enough to get your man." And sure enough, back then we used to pass notes. Do you like me? Yes or no? And he
Yes.
said yes. I just wanted the proof to show her that I can get your man. So it was always whatever somebody told me I couldn't do or I didn't have, it will fuel me to say, I bet you I can, and I will do it better. So that became, little do you know, that kind of drives you to say, you know what? I am going to be different and I'm going to show you first. I can show you better than I can tell you. So that just became my motto throughout life.
What's interesting is a lot of people will be like, "Oh, she needed to prove points." No, you didn't need to prove points
Mhm.
because you were the point. You were the
Exactly.
point. And for those that are listening and not able to watch the video, Miss Woodward is a stunning, stunning Black woman. And when she says that she was tiny, that's what she's talking about. She is the Black Barbie. And so
Yes.
there is an expectation of, a very round booty and, the very
Mhm.
curvy Black woman shape. Well, she's got a shape. It's just it's a Barbie shape. It's tiny. And, those watching the video, you can see how beautiful she is, but in person, there's something even beyond that. She's like poetry in motion. You can very similar to Dr. Stormy Wellington, which we're going to get into in a moment.
Mhm.
When Sheila walks into the room, you can feel it. She doesn't need to say, "Here I am," because
No.
you automatically, oh, there she is.
Mhm.
She
Yes.
is the most beautiful, the most intelligent, the
Thank you.
most savvy. And let me tell you, she you don't want to mess with her because exactly
Mhm.
that. She will not back down. She's gonna,
Mm-mm.
she is not someone you want to mess with.
My tongue was always my weapon, but I said it in such a way that if you tried to hurt somebody or hurt me, you would pay for it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Point. You show who you are in love, and if someone's going to
yeah.
bully someone else or try to, you keep your receipts and you intelligently confront that and pretty much have a mirror and show them who they are, which is
Yes,
a
because I've
beautiful
had to look in
thing.
that mirror myself.
Yeah, we all do. We all do. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about the marriage dynamic, the family dynamic, and when you decided to, you know what, I'm moving forward, and
Mhm.
that first step you took to create your own trajectory, your own life.
Well, my mom was real religious and my father wasn't. And they divorced at an early age. So what I picked up, and let me be clear, my mom didn't allow us to play with certain people. So I grew up knowing that I was in a different category anyway. I wasn't, you know, but she was more religious and my father was more like a ladies' man. So I learned from both of them. And they were absolutely, I think with my mom, she wanted me to be more of a Christian girl. And my father was like, hey, be who you need to be. So when those two worlds clash, you pick up what you need from the Bible, but you do the opposite of what you're seeing at home. I picked up the player traits from my father and learned the skills of how to maneuver through any situation. And what I did learn from my mom divorced as many times as I did. She was that person that, oh no, I'm not staying. Nope, you're getting a new dad tomorrow. I never learned what a real relationship was. I learned how to leave it and let it be done and continue to elevate. So you have the spiritual side, you have the player side. And both parents, I have a lot of both parents. I have, the Bible says, train up a child in the way that she go, that she would not part from it. That's something that is instilled in us. We were raised under a strict religion. Okay.
Yes.
My father was a little bit less slack. He didn't believe in whoopings. He didn't believe in, my mom believed in spare the rod, and spoil the child.
Yeah.
So imagine wanting to be with your father because it's Disneyland over here, and then you got to go be with your mom. Like, oh no.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it was a fight, and she just could not understand, why can't you just be over here? Because over there was fun for me. So I left home. I left my mom in ninth grade, and
Wow.
I went to go stay with my father. So I learned you had the best of both worlds. But then when you had to return back to the Tallahassee zone, I was
Right.
like, yeah.
So there's probably some resentment that your mother had for
Oh yeah, a
choosing
lot.
to live with your father, and that's very young, in ninth grade,
Mhm.
having to try to navigate. And let's face it, children want to please the parents. They don't want to go into an environment where they feel like they've done something wrong. And like you said, having to go in back to Tallahassee and having to face
Mhm.
that, yet at the same time loving your mother and wanting to be a part of her life, yet the fresh breath of air when you went back to your father, that must have
If
been,
we can be honest, Kim, I
yeah,
wish I could say, yeah, really. I wasn't. Some people are really tugging at this part when I say this. I didn't find out that my mom was resenting me until I was 53. I'm 60 now. So when
wow.
she called me up to tell me, I've been resenting you since ninth grade, I just wasn't that close with my mom. So I never tried to please her. As a matter of fact, I did the opposite. I saw her do certain things in church and I was like, that ain't right. That's not what you teach us at home. So I would just be the rebellion type to challenge her, not to actionable do it. But I just didn't have that, oh, I just gotta be my mom moment. I was a daddy's girl. And to find out that she resented me, it took me a while to forgive her. And I'm gonna tell you something about forgiveness. Because I didn't forgive her, I was attracting people who were resenting me.
Mm,
So yeah,
mm,
you attract what you don't forgive. I
that
mean,
is
I've since
beautiful.
forgiven her.
Yeah.
And I had to find out why she was resenting me. And it was simply because as a child, she was abandoned. So here comes Miss
Mm,
Sheila. I'm leaving. I'm going to have fun. And that triggered abandonment in her because I left
yeah.
to go stay with my father in ninth grade. And then she felt like all the other kids had different fathers. They left. So I was a ringleader to trigger the trauma. And when we were able to heal, took a minute, but I'm glad we did because as of today, she has dementia. So she doesn't remember anything. So imagine if I wouldn't have forgave her.
Right.
I
Right.
would be the only one carrying the memory of she said she resented me.
Which is interesting because, forgiveness comes from within, don't you think?
I think it comes within, but I also think that you have to understand what triggered a person in the first place for you to even forgive them. Because as a kid, I made a kid decision, but she held on to that up until she was brave enough to tell me at the age of 53. And the way she came to me was like, God told me to tell you that I've been resenting you. So right there, it triggered me because God's not going to tell you anything to come tell your child something hurtful.
Right.
So in typical fashion, I lashed back out. I said, well, I wasn't really close to you at all anyway. And that was like 2019. We're now in 2026. So a year later, I was able to forgive her. And 2 years later, she forgot anyway. So I think you have to confront the person. And if you can't physically confront them, please confront the person or acknowledge the person or forgive the person before they forget or before it's too late where you can't say anything to them.
Right.
So
Right.
I was that person. One thing I did tell my mom, I told her, I said, thank you for teaching me how not to be. If you want the same results, then be the same way. If you want different results, somebody will show you the opposite of the results that you're going to get with your kids.
You brought something up that's very important to remember is what was it that they went through
Yeah.
that caused them to be the way they are today? And a lot of us, in any relationship, whether it's parents, friends, work, lovers, spouses, what was it that they went through that caused them to react and be triggered and be the way they are today? She did the best she could with what she had to work with. Something Dr. Wellington has taught us over and over again. Dr. Wellington came into your life in 2017, was it?
18, yes.
2018. So 2018, up until 2018, you lived a high profile, followed your dreams. You saw it, you wanted it, you got it, from men to jobs to fashion. So you get married and you step out of Tallahassee and you got married to a wonderful man, but please, this will also lead us into your first book.
Which one? The first man? I seriously married him to leave Tallahassee. Yes. He was just a friend. And because we had religious background, there was no intimacy before marriage. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I was really dead set against, but of course he wasn't. He was more of a Christian person than I was. So leaving Tallahassee, I learned key points, and he was military. I learned how to survive and navigate through that world. I told this story before. I remember him buying me a nice shiny car and I couldn't drive it, didn't know how to drive it. And it was like, can I drive the car today? Can you teach me? Can you teach me? And every excuse was, yeah, I'm gonna teach you. Well, I found somebody who could teach me. And that person taught me how to drive a car. That person taught me a lot of other things that you're supposed to automatically just kind of know. Right. And one day I went home and I was getting ready for the party, my birthday party. And my husband at the time said, he said, no, I'm going to teach you this weekend. I said, oh, no, I got it. I know how to drive. The independent mindset that began to shape at 19 years young was my tool to say, never, ever allow anybody or wait for somebody to teach you something that you can go get and learn yourself. And that kind of started me to really figuring this military mindset out. And I don't think he wanted to cripple me. I think it was more or less like, I kind of really don't want her to be as free as I know she's going to be because I just had my son. So once I learned how to drive my car, I don't know if y'all remember this, you might, Kim, but there was a department store called Mervyn's.
Yes.
I got a part-time job at Mervyn's and you couldn't tell me anything. But that feeling of independence, the car, the job, the savings account, the knowing that if this don't work out, I got this. Because a lot of people get married and they say forever. I got married and I honestly said until. Until. Hey, until. And as casual as I was at a young age, I'm getting married straight out of high school. So I saw my parents get divorced until. So I'm like, well, hey, if it don't work out, I'll do what they did. So that molded me to not get so attached to anybody, because until they show you who they are, we're going to ride this thing out. So that led me to the first husband.
There is something very relevant in putting yourself first. Because
Yes.
you don't want to suffocate who you are. You don't want to
Yeah.
mold yourself to fit into the expectations of someone else when you have your own vision and expectation of
Yeah.
thyself. And there is nothing wrong either with
Right.
recognizing that, again, you're being suffocated. You can't expand who you are with a
Yeah.
certain person. Well, guess what? You got to let that person go so that you can expand. And your book has a brilliant way of showcasing that. Not only the steps that you took to
Yeah.
remain that free, independent, self-willed, fulfilling your
Mhm.
own vision, but you did have to let go of a few things too, which that's
I
not
did.
easy.
Yeah.
That's not
I
easy.
never promote what I said at the age of 19. I'm just telling that was my truth at the age of 19.
Yeah.
You live by the examples that you see. And I saw that they divorced and left and came and went, and it was no attachment to a relationship that was an example of what I saw.
Yes.
And my mom was married 4 times,
Wow. Yeah.
probably five. I missed one. So there was no attachment to this is what forever looks like.
Right.
And then at 19, you kind of don't know what forever looks like. You just know what you're not going to accept.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wasn't in, I was never in an abusive relationship. All of my husbands were amazing, not physical. They gave me what I needed at the time of my life when I was at that stage.
Right.
And
Right.
not to discard where they took me, but if it wasn't for the journey that I went on with the first husband, of course, I only never met the second or the third. But I would have never learned the lesson about being so independent until you have to have your own mindset and space in order to grow. You
Yeah.
have to. You can't just say, oh, I'm just this. Even as a housewife, you can still take a course, you can still take a class. It just became no excuses for me. None.
Becoming and continuing to grow and being curious about thyself. And as you move forward in your journey, I feel like that's what really compelled you. You were curious about your own self. You were
Yeah.
curious about your own creation. And you
Yeah.
ended up, and we'll have to shorten it up. You'll have to read her book to get all the details, but you ended up getting on a radio show.
Yes.
And
Yes.
tell us a little bit about those years and what that exposed you to and how that also expanded you.
One thing that I learned, again, I'm still married to the first husband, and money doesn't make you rich. Your mindset makes you rich. You can have a boatload of money and not have the right mindset. So anything I set my mind to, I achieved. And being in a small town with my first husband, there was an advertisement for a radio station to have a spokesmodel, and they wanted somebody that was single. Now at the time I was married, so it's like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get the job. And it was really something that I knew I was gonna have anyway, because I went in knowing. I called the station. They told me where they were. I didn't tell them I was married until after, because they was looking for a Ms., not a Mrs.
Right.
And I walked in, and all the girls had, I never forget, they all had pin numbers. Take a number and pin it on your shirt. Well, I had on a nice silk shirt, and I walked with a certain air about me. And I'm like, I'm not pinning that on my shirt. I'm not messing up. So the lady was like, yeah, you have to. I said, but of course I don't. And I put the number in my purse. And when they called my number, I went. I had an interview, and the interview was simply about what do you can bring to the station that will make people want to come to the station. I say, what does the station have to offer me that will make me want to bring people to the station? So I
Um,
was that person in an interview. I wasn't oh, please pick me. No, I was like, so what can y'all offer me in order for me to bring something to the station? Because at the time they would have stars come by and they would have a little showpiece, a little Barbie doll. You talk with them and you meet with the guys or the group girls. I met so many amazing people,
right.
but I also had to do charity work. I also had to do commercials. I also had to be that representation of the
Mhm.
station.
Yeah.
So I knew how to posture up anyway, because I knew how to not allow people to make me feel like I got to do this in order for you to keep me. No, what can you bring to me in order for me to bring what you need for your station? Mind you, this is the very first miss radio station model that they had. So it became this, she talking to us like that. And then they said, well, what we have going on that I said, okay, well, that sounds like fun. What else do y'all have? So I turned the interview into an interview.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times people don't realize when you turn an interview into an interview, they look at you like, okay, she's different.
Right.
So I went in knowing I was different.
And that is something that you teach.
All the time.
Know your value, posture,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
You didn't walk in there being like, oh God, I hope I get this job.
Mm-mm.
I want
No.
this job. You walked in there and said, okay, what are you going to
Yeah.
offer me?
Yeah, exactly.
Why should I choose you?
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you've pretty much led your life as well.
That's how I became, I want to say, out of the people power, out of the, no, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want to do that. You have, in every generation, you have that one person that you can just choke them because they just want to do, they just want to do things their way. And my mom wrote in her book, and a lot of her books, and she said, my daughter, Sheila, she's like, she had to have things her way. Everything I wrote that I said I was going to do, travel the world, be a model, do fashion, I did everything that I said I was going to do. So every now and then you have that kid that comes out and they're not afraid to get up and dance. They're not afraid to say, I'm going first. They're not afraid because they're like, we don't, like, fear is taught.
Right.
We don't come into this world knowing that we are afraid of anything.
Yes.
So I'm not going to sit in an interview and be like, oh, please pick me. No, what can y'all offer me that will make me want to bring more people to your station in order for your station to be noticed? Yeah.
So with someone that is susceptible to labels and feeling like, oh, am I good enough? And are they going to choose me? What sort of advice do you give them?
If you don't choose yourself, nobody else is going to choose you.
Mm.
If you're thinking, if they choose me, or are they going, have you chose yourself?
Mm.
If you don't put yourself to a higher standard, like, why can't I be the first? Why can't I be the one that come along and change the generational curse? Who else is going to do it?
Right.
But if you don't choose yourself and you're like, you're attracting that.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in what you think about, you bring about. Even before we knew what you think about, you bring about.
Right.
I used to write in a diary what I was going to do. I used to read it every day. I used to say what I wanted to say. I used to, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to travel the world. And you don't know what traveling the world is because you're still in the United States in a small town. You just know you're going somewhere.
Right.
And if your mind stay exactly in your zip code and you're going to stay there and live there, then you're going to become that. And you're not going to ever want to change that. And it doesn't necessarily have to physically change for people. It starts here. Yeah. So why not you?
Right.
If you don't choose yourself and put yourself first, nobody else will.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Tell us about what brought you to Japan and what you started and fulfilled while you were in Japan.
Well, what brought me to Japan was the second husband that I married, who just so happened to be, get the book, you'll find out who he is. Japan was one of those, and when you say you're going to travel the world, you really don't know that you're going to meet a military man. You really don't know. You just think you're going to get on a plane and travel the world. Well, my second marriage led me to Japan. And being an officer's wife, you really still, I wanted my identity because I have my own identity. But a lot of us get so content with, oh, I'm captain's wife. I'm so-and-so, sergeant so-and-so's wife. I wanted people to know me as who I was when I stepped off the plane. Yeah. So when I did get to Japan, the first thing I wanted to do was find a way to be seen, to be noticed, to be in my own lane. And I did just that. The sketches I used to sketch, the drawings, the pictures, the visions. I started finding people that can create and craft that. I started um, advertising for a fashion
Hmm.
models, a seamstress. Back then, they were so ladies, a seamstress. I knew that when I started creating my own lane, that nobody would be, oh, that's just so and so. I never wanted to be under anybody's umbrella. My biggest pet peeve is when we shorten our vision or our dreams or our goals that I wrote long time ago to become somebody else's,
Yes.
and you
And,
don't live for you. So
and
that was one of the best journeys in my life, to start and have my own production, my own fashion show,
yeah,
my own models, people working for me. And nobody knew me as Captain So and so's wife. They were like, that's the fashion show lady.
yes.
Yeah, that's Stacy. That's the fashion show lady. And I think in a world of who you are and who you're becoming, if you don't start becoming who you need to become for you, you're
Mhm.
going to fall into the trap and become what everybody else wants you to be. And
Yes,
I wasn't that person. I
yes.
wasn't that person in marriages. I wasn't that person in friendship. I did not settle for what you wanted me to be, because I knew at the end of the day I need to be who I need to be for me.
For you, for you.
Because if the marriage is over, if the friendship is gone, what is your identity?
Right.
What can you walk away saying? Oh, I'm just so and so superstar's wife or the superstar's best friend.
Or
So
superstars divorcee.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So imagine how many texts I get throughout the
Right.
years. Shoulda,
Right.
coulda, woulda. Yeah, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you didn't.
You didn't. You didn't. And what's
Yeah.
beautiful is you started off this interview talking about how, as a little girl, you didn't
Yeah.
like what the dolls were dressed like. You
No,
had
I
your
didn't.
own thing. So you've always had this innate ability to
Mhm.
see colors, fashion, be different, and going to Japan and having this happen. Not only were you hugely successful,
Yes.
because
Hmm.
there is, again, you got to get the book, but you had already proven yourself as a top salesperson. I mean, you were able to show people not only are you a top salesperson because you're selling a vision,
Right.
but you were able to have your own vision come true. And not only
Exactly.
did it come true, it was wildly successful. And
I was completely blessed, and I remember, like I told you before, when the girl told me, "Oh, you too skinny, or you don't have a butt." My vision for fashion show was women of size. I went from size 2 to 20. Some of these girls that I had to practice with, you have to teach them or
Mhm.
talk to them about confidence. They've never been on a stage.
Yeah.
They've never felt pretty enough. So all of the things that we teach now in Girl Hold My Hand, I've been doing that. I've been
Yes.
woman empowerment, simply because there's always somebody there that's on the playground who was bullied back in the day, and they needed to walk across that stage and feel confident. So
Yeah.
I didn't stick with the skinny models.
Right.
My superstars were always women of size. And
Which
I
was
wanted the world to see women of size, because we are all different sizes. We're all not just one size.
which was really innovative because we're talking the 90s. And
Yes,
and in the
1991,
90s,
92. Yeah.
that it was just skinny runway models,
Yeah.
hangers on the runway.
Yeah.
There what
Yeah.
that wasn't being done. And not only that, you're in Japan.
Yeah.
So you had an area that shouldn't have worked, but it did
And it
work
did. Yeah.
because you
So
believed in
imagine if I
you.
would have just thought that all models are supposed to look a certain way. I
Right.
would have said no to no to no. And you've seen some of the models that were on stage. You saw how poised they were. You've
Yes.
read the reviews of how hard it is to work for me and with me.
Yes.
I just have a zone that I know I can bring to the world. And that's another thing. We don't always have to fit into the mold of everybody else.
Right.
You can create a lane that has never been done before. And now it's it's such an amazing feeling to just be yourself. Now you have supermodels that are of size.
Yes. Yeah, way ahead of
You
your
know,
time, girl. You were so way ahead
I
of your time.
so many people told me that. They was like,
Yeah.
"What? She's a size 25." Yes.
Video. So if you're listening to this, please go on and find the video so that we can show you some of the fashions, sassy fashions. And we will also have a little clip of the beautiful way that Sheila herself walks. And it is, like I said, poetry in motion.
Yes.
So you had a lot of hot romances, several different
Yes.
marriages, and I don't want to spoil the book, but in the end, one gentleman won out. We're not going to say his name because you got to read the book, but one gentleman won out, and you kind of shifted into a different phase of your life. And you, in a lot of ways, became somewhat bitter working, especially with Black women. And there was a woman that you crossed paths with that changed your life. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about
Understand, like, how did Sheila get a 1,000 families necklace before I did? They don't know that you've been holding me down. I mean, girl, hold my hand, the coaching community, being there just for me. You live right around the corner, bringing me flowers, sending me flowers, saying nice things to me, like, and just really doing more than you even have to do. Sheila is the perfect example of the type of person that I want to represent me. Like, she really is. And on every level, as a wife, as a woman who's transformed herself, like, she was not always this Sheila.
Stormy Wellington. Wow. It's amazing how sometimes I got bitter with Black women simply because of how I was treated in Japan with firing one or two of them. And, I was that girl that had some close Black friends, and we shared some secrets, and one wanted to expose a secret. I was having an affair with one guy, and, so it kind of made you bitter. And she wanted to call my husband up, and I said, hold on, let me put him on the phone. That's another thing. You can't tell somebody something that I won't be able to tell them, because then they have the power over you. And I learned that early on from my mom. So fast forward to, I'm taking all of this hurt with me. Now I'm in South Florida. I've met my purpose partner. I want to have sisterhood. I want to be able to reconnect with, we want to say, what our roots and where did I go wrong? And I end up vowing that I would never be like my mom.
right.
End up being exactly like her. She didn't want us playing with Black kids. Nah, I didn't want to be with us no more. So you look at those traits as, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And I was on a yacht one day, and I was like, I just want to hang out with some new people. I just want to do something. I met these three young ladies, and we struck up a conversation. They were three beautiful Black women. And I walked by and I said, y'all are so beautiful. And she said, so are you? I said, yeah, I know. That's my whole get back. Yeah, I know. But I circled back around and I began to chat with these three young ladies. And they started talking about this woman empowerment group and how they were going to be visiting a friend. And her name was Stormy Wellington. They said, don't you know Stormy? I was like, do she know me?
Marketing helped me in my time of need, like the industry, right? It helped me. It is the only vehicle that allowed me to be the successful woman that I am today. How could I forget? Like, this is the vehicle that allowed me to make millions of dollars. I've coached 139 first generational millionaires, and my career this year makes 16 years. I am certain that I understand network marketing. I could do other things and I make money in other areas, but nothing gives me the level of certainty like the industry of network marketing. I know it like the back of my hand. Like, network marketing is inside of me. It's not on me. And I know that I pray prayers, that there's things I ask God, like, God, if you help me one more time, I won't forget about the people. And network marketing was a vehicle that he gifted me. So I feel this responsibility, like, and I know that this may not be understood to many people that's going to watch this. And I hope that this is not received the wrong way. I feel like network marketing needs me, and I need it. What would the industry do without me?
Because in my head, I'm a big damn deal. Like,
Right,
she don't know me. And they were like, well, she does this and she does this one. I said, oh, no, I ain't about that. I don't know. No. And I knew that it was going to be an African-American setting. It was going to be a Black group. It was just going to be, no, let me just stick my pinky toe into it. I'm just going to talk to y'all. So I ended up inviting the young ladies over to my house. And lo and behold, they came and they said, hey, we end up at a residence gate. We just left my friend's house. I said, what friend? Stormy Wellington in person. I said, well, no, I don't know her, but come around to my main gate. Lo and behold, when they come inside, we talk and we chat. We talk more military talk than Stormy Wellington talk. But they say, hey, we're going to this event that I was telling you about. My friend lives next door. Our properties literally back up. My back gate is her front gate. They're ran by the same property. And I said, no, they said Marvin Sapp, the gospel singer, is going to be there. I said, oh yeah, I'll go see him.
Yeah.
Not knowing that when I got in the room, I was going to not only see him, but hear her.
Yes.
And I got in the room, there was a sea of Black women. I mean, I never in my life, it was just, I was like, whoa, what we doing?
Yeah.
And as she began to talk and scream and yell and come out on stage in her stormy way,
Yes.
she began to tell people that hold your sister hand, talk to your sister. And I'm in here with three people, strangers kind of, and everybody hugging. And I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? So at the end of this event, she says that she's going to have an intimate setting that she only wanted to work with 59 women. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I want to do some business with some people. 59, not such a big crowd. Cool. I didn't know she wanted to mindset work with people. Because I'm in my head, I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with me, right?
You are a multi-million. You've made your
already, yeah. So it wasn't a money for me. It was how do I reconnect with that inner me, that sisterhood me that I wanted. And I didn't know that that was going to happen with meeting Stormy.
Right.
And sure enough, I end up wanting to go to this event, sold out. I made up an excuse to go over to her house to buy some products from her. And I said, why you didn't pick me? Because we had to submit a letter. My name is Sheila, da, da, da. I can add this to your life. My letter was crafted so well until it was like, okay. And she said, sorry, this is business. I said, well, if anybody cancel, let me know.
Yeah.
And before I came home, somebody canceled. And I became her 59th person she wanted to work with.
Right.
And I went to this event and it was 59, 58 of us in there. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to do this. No. And she started talking and the girls started crying and they started confessing their life was horrible. Men were treating them a certain way. I was texting my husband. I was like, hey, I'm in the wrong spot. I don't know what's wrong with these people, but they is not who I thought they were. He said, what's going on? I said, they crying and they hugging. And I said, the way they talking about how they was treated. But I didn't realize I was in the room to connect, to be the connector that I am now to the community.
Yes.
And I sat still and he said, stay anyway. And as I began to stay, I began to like talk to one person. I was like, you all right? You know, because I was still like,
yeah, like,
you all right?
What am I doing here?
Yeah. So it was the second day that really changed me and humbled me. And Stormy came out and she said, if you would die today, who would miss you? And I'm that person that don't close. I don't cut everybody off except for my son, my husband, and a few little trinklet friends that don't live, they white, but New Mexico and stuff like that.
Right.
So I thought to myself, is this the impact you wanted to leave? Think about it. How many of us died lonely and heartbroken and haven't fulfilled life? Because I got money, got an amazing husband, have a great life. But is that it?
Right. That part.
So I started writing down all I wanted to become. And I couldn't stop writing.
Wow.
And I made some friends that day and I stayed connected to the girls and we all formed a group. And the next event she came, I was front row. Every event she had after that, you can come out there and see Sheila Woodward front row.
Wow.
And I would sit there and take notes. I would sit there and go back and read my notes. And some of the stuff, ouch, it hurts. Some of the stuff, you got to say, what is your purpose really? Like, what is your purpose?
Right.
So I wanted to be impactful. Not way back in the day impactful, but currently impactful. And in order to be impactful, you had to start changing who you had started to become and reinvent the way you thought about others. Because I realized the reason why I was attracting so many Black women that I didn't like is because of what my mom had said, the resentment part. And then there was a part of me that felt like, oh, I ain't got to be with y'all anyway. But I really did need to be with them because I was the voice to let them know that you don't have to believe everything that you're told.
Right. Well, and what's really interesting is, you know, you've gone through your whole life already having a vision, already knowing it's yours. Yet when you came into the presence of Dr. Stormy Wellington, that changed for you. You were like, ooh, I want to be here. How do I earn my way? How do I get myself out of the people pile? Because something shifted in you. You began to realize that through this reconnection to your sisters, to that feminine energy, to Stormy herself, was
Yeah.
opening up something within you. And your own husband has said to Stormy,
Yeah.
it changed
Yeah.
you. It
Yeah.
changed you. It brought you joy.
Yeah, it did. You know, I was never in the people power. I was never even over there with the people.
Right.
I
I
had to
mean, we
hop
know
in
that,
the people power.
but
I literally had to hop in the people power to get to know some of the people who
yes,
were stuck
right.
because I became closed off. And what changed about me and my husband, love, he started hearing me on the phone. He started hearing me talk to certain girls. Mind you, my phone wasn't ringing for females.
Right.
I was in real estate. I was just always gone and busy. So he would hear me tell somebody, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Think about it before you act on it. And I said one day, like late 2019, I said, I'm going to go work for her one day.
Yes.
I'm going to work for her one day. And I just kept saying it. I knew it. I know if I kept going around her, she was going to ask me to do something. I said, I'm going to work for her one day. And I never forget when she was on Instagram, she was screaming about something. And I was like, I'm going to go work for her one day. For real? And then, you know, she was upset about something. And I side text her designer. And the designer took the phone directly to her. And she said, Sheila Woodward, I need you to come work for me. Let me see if you can handle the storm.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, Lord, what am I going to do for this?
Understand, like, how did Sheila get a 1,000 famous necklace before I did? They don't know that you've been holding me down. I mean, girl, hold my hand, the coaching community being there just for me. You live right around the corner, bringing me flowers, sending me flowers, you know, saying nice things to me, like, and just really doing more than you even have to do. Like, she doesn't get paid to do the things that she's doing. And when you do the things that you do from your heart and you don't get paid, you can tell the difference from someone who is doing something for the money and doing something from their heart. And you have been someone that has worked from your heart from the beginning.
And mine just late 2019.
Yeah.
So no, I actually it's beginning of 2020. So I get all dressed and I go over to a house that she was staying at the time. And she says, this is a question that triggers me, y'all. She said, so what can you do? I say, well, what you need done? We was having this head bobbing conversation. And she said, tell me what can you do? And I'm thinking to myself, the hell can I do? I mean, I don't know what she need because she always yelling about something. I said, I can man the girl hold my hand community.
Yeah.
She said, man them how? Like what they need manning for. It's 4,000 people on meditation. It's this. I said, I can start calling them and getting their feedback. I can start calling the people and seeing how they're doing. I can start calling the people for you because nobody called me when I joined the community.
That's
somebody would want to say, hey, how you doing? Is there anything that you need? She said, that's not a job. I said, not yet.
Not yet.
And as I began to sit there, she was like, okay. She sent me somewhere for 30 minutes to train with somebody. And they knew about as much about the community as an aunt did. And I said, oh, hell no, I ain't doing it that way. I'm going to do it my way. Okay? I'm going to do it my way.
Sheila is the perfect example of the type of person that I want to represent me. Like she really is. And on every level, you know, as a wife, as a woman who's transformed herself, like she was not always this Sheila. I learned that after the fact, you know, talking to her husband and even talking to her, like she really has grown and to know that she really embodies, you know, the girl on my hand spirit, like really, really, really. Like, though she has made over 6 figures in less than 6 months, but today she going home with a big check. The truth is, I had to make, she said she didn't want to get paid. I'm the one that had to say, like, can you imagine, like, that she would have never known, but can you imagine, like, her doing all this work and not getting paid for it? Like, I just don't believe in that. You know?
What we want to remind people is Dr. Stormy Wellington is the most successful Black woman network marketer, in my opinion, in the world, but for facts, in the world. She has proven herself over and over and over again. She is a multi-millionaire, and she is a powerful speaker. Powerful. When you're that in depth in this type of work, it is very difficult to keep your eyes on everything. And you came in and you saw a space that was being neglected, and you took that space and you made it exactly what she needed so that she could serve at ease.
Yeah.
You took the stress off, you took the people, and you made it so that she could step in now and have complete joy in her community.
The girls that I have bonded with that feel and understand me the most I would not be here without Sheila Woodward. Sheila Woodward came to the Awakening Intensive. I would have never been able to bond with her if she would have came to the big awakening with 600 people. It wouldn't have happened. But at the Awakening Intensive is when I was able to connect with Sheila. And watch this. If I could get thank you. I'm speaking this from my mouth to God's ears. If every Awakening Intensive, I could connect with one girl like I did Sheila changed my life, y'all.
And to this day, she gets on in the mornings. She gives us a mindfulness. She gives us a spirit. She gives us a strength. And the backbone of the community is you.
Yeah. Creating that lane.
Yeah.
And that's why I say when people give me excuses, oh, I can't do this. As you begin to talk, Kim, it's like, dang, I did that.
Yes.
But dang, she called me out on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then as both of our worlds begin to go like this, Stormy Wellington, Sheila Woodward, I stayed in my lane because a lot of times I see that when people come around such a powerful person, they want to be all they need to be for that person.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. You can't keep up with a Stormy Wellington.
No.
You can't outwork her. You can't outdo her. You got to say, here I am. I got you over here. Yeah. So I began to be the eyes behind the power. Right. I began to watch. I began to listen. I began to observe. I began to know my place and my position of the lane that I created, which is why I'm very protected of. It's a lot of work, y'all, to talk to on any given month or two.
Yes.
Thousands of people.
And it should be known that you have been doing this for 6 years without pay.
Yeah.
Without pay.
Yeah.
You began to also head the sales, getting in the room, these beautiful awakening events that Dr. Wellington has. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do get a commission off of that, but not until you filled that room. Not until you have taken these women and these men and said, tell me your vision. Let me help you with that vision. Let's get you in this room.
She used to offer me. She used to say, let me pay you. And I said, I'm paying back into what happened with me when you changed my life. And a lot of times, it's like Zig Ziglar says, you pay, earn, and serve. And if you can be a triple threat, be a triple threat. Yes. I'm blessed enough to be a triple threat. I didn't need to be on her payroll.
Right.
I needed to learn. I had a vision for what I wanted. And also, I learned early on, if you don't have freedom within a workspace, you become a slave to the workplace.
Yes.
My phone can start ringing at 5 a.m. If you are on somebody's payroll, you can say, hey, my office hours are 9 to 5.
Right.
What about the person that's about to jump off the bridge at 6? Exactly. What about the family that's stranded at 10:30? Now, all of that doesn't have to be your responsibility, but it became my purpose. It became how to be impactful, how to revisit, how to repay the mindset shift that I had to take at 53.
Right. Right. And I myself am a testimony to what Stormy Wellington can do with a person, my own mind shift and going from a very, very dark place and having patience with myself and allowing and being open to, like you said, the lessons and really learning about myself through her mindfulness and being like, oh, well, maybe I should try that. Oh, I didn't think about that. And also allowing myself to, like you said again, not people please, but just stay true to myself and paying attention. If you were to put into a couple of sentences what Girl Hold My Hand is, please.
It's a safe community for you to connect, really. Not only just connect with other people, but connect with yourself. I always say collaborate, but collaborate with yourself and then others. So it is a community of, it's a gumbo of many people. This is the reason why Girl Hold My Hand community is created, so that we can have a whole gumbo, a networking of people that we never ever thought that we would meet in life.
Yes.
A lot of people would never meet the Kimberly.
Right.
They wouldn't unless she's a part of a group or a community. I give back to you and you give back to me, but our paths would have never crossed had we not been a part of Girl Hold My Hand. You're way in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
You know? So this is what Girl Hold My Hand is about, connections for me. It's a safe place to connect. It's a supportive system. It's a place where when you fall down, people don't have to judge you. If you make a mistake, which I do, and I have, and I correct them before anybody else do in public.
Yes.
I'm allowed to be me. I'm allowed to confess who I was. Standoffish black girl, didn't like black people. I'm allowed to understand that growth requires transparency.
Yeah.
That's what Girl Hold My Hand is for me.
It is a gumbo of brilliant, different souls coming together, and especially women, because I think women have a unique way of leading with love.
Yeah.
So I want to get into what I call the famous questions.
Uh-oh.
The famous questions. So along the same topic, right? This topic that we've been discussing, the mindfulness, the evolution. What is your favorite word?
Beyond.
Ooh.
Beyond is my favorite word. And I came up with that word in the midst of really wanting to go beyond where I was. Right. And it just allows you to think past that moment. You can have a crisis and a breakdown, but you know beyond that, it's going to be all right. You can have an argument with a best friend and you know beyond that, y'all going to get back together. You cannot have any money today and put the actions forward tomorrow and know beyond that, it's going to be okay. So I had to really, it probably was like 4 years ago, diving deep into myself. And knowing that I couldn't solve everything for everybody.
Right.
And I had to look beyond, and I had to start telling everybody else, you know what? You got to look beyond where you are, because today doesn't define you where you're going to be tomorrow. My all-time favorite word is beyond.
Brilliant.
Beyond.
Brilliant. Along the same lines, what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word is, well, it's two. I can't. That triggered every fiber in my body. When somebody say I can't, I can just get off the phone and find you and shake you. That is when you say you can't, and I look through my life and know that you can, I will, I must.
Yeah.
That is, those two words put together are my least favorite. I can't.
Yeah. And it makes sense when you're able to look at again, you got to read her book, but when you're able to look at the life you've lived, oh yeah, you can. Can't shouldn't even be a word.
You have to, because if I would have stopped at husband number 2, no way would I be here.
If you would have stopped at husband number 1.
No.
My God.
And just so that they'll know, when we're talking about husbands, I have 3. But always, people ask me this question. I was on a Facebook Zoom call 3 weeks ago, and I never changed for husband number 3. I started changing for me to attract someone like him.
Yeah.
People always say, oh, my husband changed me. No, I changed way before he came along in order to attract someone that was going to be my purpose partner.
And you've had 3 husbands, but there was some in between.
Oh, yeah.
So, don't think that there's only 3 men in this book. There's
no, and some of them I left out because they're not important.
Some of them are still distraught today from
Actually,
not
they
being
are.
able to be the man that you needed
Yeah.
them to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an interesting question. I want you to think about when you first wake up in the morning, when you first flutter open your eyes, what is it that turns you on?
The very first thing when I wake up, I always say, God be with my mind today.
Mm, mm,
I don't care how I sleepily open my eyes. I say, God be with my mind today. Because I realize your mind and your thoughts, they shape your day. I don't look at my phone. I don't grab my phone. I say, God be with my mind today. I
perfect.
get up, I go brush my teeth, I sit in front of my window, I meditate at 5:30.
Mm,
I am such a routine type person until the first 30 minutes of every day, they belong to me because by then my husband's already out of bed and out getting ready to ride his bike. So God be with my mind today.
yes. Yeah.
Sometimes I have to say it throughout the day.
Right.
Depends on who I'm talking to. But that is a part of what drives me in the morning, and be grateful that you woke up, because no one knows when you're going to rest and not wake up.
So along the same lines, what turns you off?
I have certain triggers.
Hmm.
Um, and in my line of work that I do every day, I'm on the phone, I'm talking with people. And on any given day, I can get challenged by one of them triggers.
Right.
And it could be somebody making an excuse. It could be somebody whining about something. It could be my biggest turnoff is sometimes when I look down at a text and I already know I don't want to talk to that person because I know they haven't changed from the last conversation. It's a trigger when you don't change. And I said this morning, if you don't change, nothing changes.
Yes.
So because I talk all the time, often throughout the day, my biggest trigger, I would say, is when people call me with excuses.
Mm, yeah.
Lazy people,
Yeah.
liars,
Yeah.
and people that have an excuse.
Yeah.
So I stop allowing, and again, I stop allowing so much to be dumped on me, because even though I live in the land of rainbows and kittens, that can still play on your psyche.
Right.
You can still call somebody, they can call you and give you an excuse or be near death or whatever, and you be like, but that's not what you said yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm that person that I had to stop internalizing everybody else's
Yeah.
stuff. Sorry, I had to stop forcing what I saw for that person
Mm.
and just say, no worries, if you don't want to look beyond, I understand. See
Yeah.
this word behind me, peace. When my peace starts being compromised, that's when I start changing and shifting again.
Yes.
And I've shifted recently.
Yeah. Exactly. You're just like, okay, I'm here when that changes. I'm here when that changes. All right. This is an audience favorite question, and don't worry, we'll bleep this out. What is your favorite swear word?
Curse word.
It's awesome.
I hardly ever say, but it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit is a
Mhm.
good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite noise or sound?
My favorite sound is water.
Mhm.
I like to hear water, just flowing. I can sit by a river all day long. I can sit by my window by the river. I'm not
You
really an
live on the
outdoors type
water.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
live
have
on the
to see
water.
water every day. In
Yeah.
both homes, I have to see water every day. And I love the serene of hearing that sound.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a hush, when water trickles.
What is your least favorite sound?
You ever spoke with someone and you saw them and they had this annoying voice? So
Yes.
I think my least favorite sound is what makes me think of somebody as chalkboard, like you're
Yeah.
scritching on the chalkboard and their voice is just so annoying, or it's
Squeaky.
graspy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's graspy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It
I
irritates
agree. I
my
agree.
inner beings.
I
That's
agree.
my least favorite sound. Someone who sound when they speak, they sound like they're graspy or they're choking or
And that's because too, because you're very empathic, you're very intuitive as well, and that's not them coming forward. People don't naturally have a scratchy or irritating voice. They're not
I
in
thought
their true self. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
So this one is my favorite question. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Dead or alive, I would say Harriet Tubman
Yeah.
because I want to know what it felt like to like go get the people, and then you had some over there talking about we got it good over here. That stuck with me for the longest. I wanted to know what it felt like, and who you had to become to
Mm-hmm.
say I can help y'all. And I kind of feel like that when I'm in Girl Hold My Hand. I feel like I'm supposed to be as impactful. And then some people just aren't supposed to come along on a journey, and some people are supposed to snitch on you along the journey. And
Yeah.
you're like, I tried to help you. You snitching? So I would want to sit down and ask her, how did you know you weren't free?
Mm,
When did you realize that, oh, I don't feel free? I'm not doing this.
right.
So she would be the one person that I would sit down and I would ask. One day you woke up different and you said, we's getting out of here.
Yes. And not only I mean her story, not only
Yeah.
did she walk hundreds and hundreds of miles and be able to dodge and avoid getting killed, getting caught, she went back and did it again and
And
again
again,
and
and
again,
again.
knowing that any moment not only could she be killed, but killed in horrible ways.
That's that part. It's
Horrible
like
ways.
we got away with it one time. You're going back to get them.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about this. Obviously, I didn't know you was going to ask this because you've never heard me talk like this.
Yes.
But I got away with it one time. I freed a bunch of us. How do I know Sally and Ray Ray, they're not over there snitching?
Yes.
So I'm that type of person that because I've been so involved with Girl Hold My Hand and you're trying to rescue everybody,
Hmm.
there's going to be some people that say, oh, Miss Sheila thinks she better than everybody. There's going to be some people that say, oh, I don't like the way she said that, and I'm not going with her. So I'm thinking to myself, now that you asked that question, that's always been one of those. If you had to sit with someone, I would ask them, why you lead them people that didn't want to come?
Right.
Like the ones that told on you, the one, and I realized the most powerful thing that she said, of course, she had the freedom because they didn't know that they were slaves.
Right.
And that's what's wrong with a lot of us today.
Hmm.
I tried to free so many people from their mindset, but
Yeah.
they didn't realize that that was keeping them as a
As a slave.
slave.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Black History Month, so I can say words.
Yeah, and that's the
So
truth. That's the
that would be one, and so that's that tug of war
Mhm.
that I have with people. I'm not where I want to be. I still have more. I
Right.
still have to go beyond. But I wanted to take so many people with me, and I wanted to keep going back to get them until it's like, no, I ain't getting you. I talked to you last year. I said something this morning. I went back and I listened to it, and I was like, ugh. And it's sad. The Bible clearly says, judge ye not, for you shall
Yeah.
be judged. And I said on Freedom Friday, well, damn it, stop showing me that you ain't changed, then I won't see it.
Yeah.
Then I won't be able to see it.
Yeah.
So a change has to start somewhere in order for you to move beyond. So
Right.
Harriet Tubman will be the first person I'll be like,
Yeah. What a conversation that would be. Where would you take her to
yeah.
dinner? Where would you take her to dinner?
Oh, it will be really swanky. It
Yeah.
won't be a common place. It will be somewhere like Paris, somewhere that we
Nice.
can just, nobody would know us. We can sit and we can talk, and it would be bougie. And it would just be, we would just giggle and laugh and have some
Yeah.
wine. And I would tell her some of my modern day stories, and she would tell me, girl, that's easy. I
Right.
had to go back. So it
Right.
would be like, and then I know she would tell me that she had some friends that became enemies.
Hmm.
And I want to know how you dealt with that.
Yes.
And I guarantee she would tell me, I saved them anyway.
Yeah. Because she did. Because she
She
did.
did.
She did.
Dang, I just got emotional. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you don't know who she is, there's
Oh,
movies, there's books, but you should know who she is. And so thank you so much for coming on the show today. If someone wants to get a hold of you, find your books, what's the best way?
the best way is Sheila Woodward www.sheilawoodward.com. It's real simple. You can follow me on Instagram, Sheila Woodward, 24/7. Or you can, Kim, you can reach out. They put my number in. But I am the easiest person you can find.
And you currently have both coaching programs that people can take advantage of,
They can
workbooks, but also, again, you are the contact person for the awakening events for Stormy Wellington. And we're going to keep her under wraps, but there is another huge name that is has recognized.
I was honored.
Yes. Has recognized your talent, and if you choose to go down that road, well, we know it's going to be hugely successful.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about it too.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I love you, I adore you, and I've myself have learned so much from you in this last 3 years that I've been a part of.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. You restored faith in a lot of things that I was beginning to wonder. Like, damn, is anybody out there had some common sense? So, and I've been able to be vulnerable and share some things with you, and it's deeper than skin color.
Yes.
So it allowed me, and people might watch this and say, well, she like white people anyway. Well, now I like people.
Yeah.
Because I learned in this journey that people are going to be people no matter what. And it's not about hurting people. It's unhealed hurt people.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much.
At sundown, come down, think about where we are.